Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. Okay, in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to check on some reading goals. So I foolishly made a video at the beginning of the year, the 23 books I want to read in 2023, and I wanted to check the progress of that video. So we're going to split this up into the terrible, the ugly, the bad, and the good. So we have terrible, the ugly, the bad, and the good. Okay, good, bad, ugly, terrible. So we can just start with the terrible. The books I'm doing terrible at, these are the books that I don't own. I'm not even tried to own. And also I forgot was even on this list. So let's talk about it. Most of the books I don't own and the books I forgot on this list are exactly the same. The first thing is The Overnight Guest. I totally forgot I even put this on the list. Maybe if I remembered I put this on the list, I would have tried to either check it out from the library, maybe picked up an audiobook of it, or gotten my own copy of it, but I totally forgot it was even on the list. This is the terrible. I don't see where this year I would put this in my reading TBR, because I'm doing that reading challenge that Chantel came up with, and I should have put this book in that reading challenge, figured out how to fit it inside of there, but I totally forgot this existed. So I just don't know when on my own time I'm going to read this, unless I do a whole video dedicated to trying to read the 23 books I wanted to read in 2023. Do something cheap like that. I could get it in there, but I just don't see where this would come in this year at, because honestly, since I've started Lily Reads, a lot of my reading is kind of already decided. Like I have ideas for videos. I have ideas for books. So reading the book comes first. Like me deciding I want to read a certain book usually comes first. And then I decide what video I'm going to put it in. And so if I never even knew I wanted to read this book, I don't know where I would put this. And I already have things already determined. Next month is Pride. I'm only going to be reading LGBTQ plus representation books, so it can't come in there. Then the month after that, I'm going to want to read some new releases. I want to do a romance video. I want to maybe do some memoirs. That I don't know. I don't know where this goes. So this is the terrible. Another terrible is Bones and All. I don't know when I'm going to read Bones and All. I do not own Bones and All. I don't know when this would happen. Bones and All is another terrible. Forgot this was on the list. The next thing I forgot was on the list. Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. Also do not own it. Also have not tried to own it. I kind of want to buy some vintage Agatha Christie's. I want to have a section for Agatha Christie on my bookshelf, and I want to get vintage Agatha Christie's, and I just don't know where I would go about getting some vintage Agatha Christie. I haven't looked into it yet to see like what type of covers I want of the Agatha Christie novels. I don't know. So I haven't gone out my way to get Agatha Christie novels, and so I don't know where I want. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. The next book that would go in the terrible, because I totally forgot I put this on the list, Bobu Babalola's Love and Color. I read Honey and Spice, and then I said I was going to pick up Love and Color, and I just haven't, and that is 100% on me. I don't know why I've been stalling getting this book, especially because later on in the year, I have a short story collection video I want to do. I want to do a whole video dedicated to reading short story collections, and that's where this would be. This would be perfect. And there, so why don't I own it yet? That's something I want to get on, but it's the terrible, because like I've had plenty of time to go get Love and Color, and I haven't yet. So this goes in the terrible, but I am going to remedy this one. I am literally going to go out of my way to get Love and Color. And so those are the books I don't own. Those are the books that I don't own but are on here. So terrible. I have no excuse. I should own all of these books by now, or I've tried to own them. These are the books that I haven't even looked into acquiring. Okay. So now we have the ugly. The books that go in the ugly are, I own these books but have not even tried to crack them open. They have never found their way on any of my TBRs. Not even a thought, not even a suggestion. That is what these books are. Radio silence. Why do I keep putting this book off? The thing is, I should just stop right now. I should stop everything I'm doing and read Radio Silence. Like, I just should. And so it's done, and I never have to think. Look how good of a condition it's in. I've owned this book for so long, and it's in such good condition because I never cracked it open. Never tried to read the synopsis. Forgot it was on this list. But at least I own it. At least I own it, and it's still here, okay? So that's why it's just in the ugly. I don't know what to tell you. I haven't tried to read Radio Silence. I'm flopping. Haven't read that. The next book that goes in the ugly is all the classics. Every classic that I put on this list is going in the ugly. So Little Women, haven't tried to read it. Did I forget it was on this list? Kinda. Like if I could have thought about it hard enough, I would have remembered I put it on this list, but I have not tried to read Little Women. I keep having this idea for like reading a classics video, a video on reading classics, but every time I think that I would have to physically read this book, maybe another time. So that goes in the ugly. I don't know what to say. The next thing that goes into the ugly is Lord of the Flies. What you want me to say? Another thing, I would read it for my classics video, but that classic video is never happening. It's never happening. It's like my Percy Jackson video. The Percy Jackson video is never happening, is it? Is the Percy Jackson video ever happening? I do not know. And I own the Juniper covers, the expensive Percy Jackson covers I bought because they're the only Percy Jackson covers I like. And I bought them, and I never done the Percy Jackson video. You guys, the Percy Jackson video was a video I was supposed to do like literally when I first started this channel. Like I literally started this channel in mind of doing a Percy Jackson video, reading Percy Jackson for the first time. And I don't know when it's gonna come. Same with the classics video. It's been on the mind, but I haven't done it. The next thing, like I said, I'm putting all the classics. These are the classics I need to reread. I'm not good at rereading books. I own so many books that I haven't read. Owning so many books I haven't read is literally, honestly, the joy of my life because do you guys understand? Maybe you have to be a reader to really understand this idea, but the thought that there are so many stories and any of these stories could be my favorite stories of all time bring me so much joy. It brings me so much joy that at any moment in time, I can come into this room, grab a book off the bookshelf, and it could literally be my favorite book of the year. That's what I do it for. And because I have this idea that every book that I own could possibly be my favorite book of all time, it's hard for me to reread books. It's hard for me to reread books because I'm just like, there's so much opportunity in the new stuff. And so I put 4 books on 23 books I wanted to read in 2023 that I've already read and are my favorite books of all time. These 3 books right here are my 3 favorite books of all time. Gloria Naylor Mama Day is my favorite book of all time. I absolutely love it, but I have not reread it in a while, and I wanted to reread it. Haven't even thought about it. On Beauty by Zadie Smith is one of my favorite books of all time. Have I reread it? No, this book is also long. It doesn't look long, like when you just hold it up. This book has really small font, not really small font, but there's a lot of words on the page, and it feels really long. Haven't reread it. And also one of my favorite books of all time, The Great Gatsby. Have not reread it. So that's the ugly. And then a book that's not one of my favorite books of all time. Like those 3 books are my favorite books of all time. This is like one of my favorite books of all time. Like top 15. Animal Farm. I want to reread Animal Farm because I think if I reread Animal Farm, it could move up into my like top 10 favorite books of all time. I love Animal Farm. I really, really do love Animal Farm. And it had this cover has a forward and an introduction. And I love when classics have forwards and introductions because you just learn, you get to get in the mind of like other people and how they feel about the book. But haven't tried to read it. So that's the ugly. Now let's get into, that's the ugly. Let's get into the bad. There's not much bad. The only bad is one book. We have one book in the bad. And that is Jar of Hearts. The reason why Jar of Hearts is in the bad is because I constantly check this book out from the library. I constantly put it on TBRs, and I constantly don't read it. Even though it's literally in this video so that I go out of my way to read this book. And yet, it comes so close to being read, and I never do. I've checked out the audiobook of this book, don't press play on it. I pick up the physical copy, don't read it. And so it's the bad. Like, how many times are you going to put this book off? How many times are you going to put this book up? And I actually think I'm going to enjoy it. And it's not that long. The book is just not that long. So why am I putting this book off? I don't know. It's the bad. So then we have the good. The reason why these books are in the good is because I plan on reading them. All of these books have already been assigned to a video, and I will be reading them in a video. So I know they will get read in 2023. All the books I showed you from this point back, I don't even know when I'm going to read them. I do not know. There's no plans to read them. I don't know. But all of the books from now forward, either there's a plan to read them or I already read them. So this we're in the good for. We're in the good for this. So the first one we have is Amari and the Great Game. This is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. I have it. I own the UK hardcover, and yeah, it's signed. Do you see that it's signed? Yeah, I'm serious about Amari. One thing about me, I'm serious about my girl Amari, and I'm going to read this in a video. Already have the video planned out. Already know what books I'm going to read in the video, and Amari is one of them. So yes, I will get to Amari in a video. The next book that will be getting read, Witchling, The Golden Frog Games. This is a sequel to the original Witchlings books, which is a middle grade book. I got my hands on this the minute that it came out. I pre-ordered it from Barnes & Noble. It came to my door. Cannot wait to read it. There is a novella that I do need to read, get my hands on and read. But once I do that, this book will be in that same Amari video. This book will be in, so I know I'm going to read it. The next book is The Force of Such Beauty. I said I wanted to read this book in 2023. I have my hands on it, and I have plans to read it. So look at us. Like, you guys have to understand, give me some credit. I got my hands on most of these books because if you watch the original video, I didn't own most of these books. Did not own most of these books. Not only do I own them, but I plan on reading them. Look at me. So I got my hands on The Force of Such Beauty, and I'm going to read The Force of Such Beauty. It's already assigned to a video. The last book, Wrong Place, Wrong Time, said I was going to read in 2023. Already have it assigned to a video relatively soon. I'm excited to read this book. So that's the good. Now we have the great. The great are the books that I've already read. The great is the books that I've already read. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm proud of myself. I haven't read a lot of the books that I wanted to read in 2023, but I've read a good chunk. I made a dent. And I just feel like I should be proud of myself for making that dent. When I was putting this pile together, I was actually surprised at how many books I read, because I thought when I was going to do this and I was watching my video back, I was like, this is about to be humiliating, but it's not humiliating. I have read them, but we're going to talk about my reading experience of reading this, and has that affected why I haven't read more? Let's see. So the first book we read was Allegedly. This was Tiffany D. Jackson's first book that she got published. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I put it on the list for 2020, 23 books I wanted to read in 2023, and it did not let me down. We started off with a bang. I read this book in February. I was so proud of myself. So yes, this was a check. I read it and I loved it, as I thought I would. The next thing we have is Honey and Spice. Was on the list, got my hands on it, read it, did not love it. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. Maybe that's what stopped me from getting my hands on Love and Color. Maybe subconsciously I was just like, you didn't like Honey and Spice, maybe you're not gonna like Love and Color. I don't know, but this was really disappointing for me because I really wanted to love this book, but I just think the type of book this is just wasn't for me. But I do think this book was beautifully written, and I would 100% be into picking up more Bolu Babalolo. So that's why I need to get my hands on Love and Color. But this was not for me. Next book that I read, Pachinko, another book that I did not love. I read this book and gave this book 3 stars. I won't say reading this book was a waste of my time because it was on this list and I did want to know what this book was about, but was it worth my time? Ooh, it took me a long while to read this book and like I didn't feel anything for this book. Therefore, read it though. At least I can say I read it, I guess. The next book, and probably my favorite book out of all the books and that I wanted to read in 2023 that I've read, Amari and the Great Game. I knew I would love this book. I love this book. There's just nothing more for me to say. I adore this book. I had to go get the UK hardcovers because they're gorgeous. And I'm going to get the American paperback. When the second book comes out in paperback in America, I'm going to own the American paperbacks and the UK hardcovers. This was everything I wanted it to be. So if this video was for nothing, if those 23 books in 2023 video was for nothing, at least I got Amari and the Knight Brothers out of it. So I'm happy about that. The next book that I wanted to read in that video was Babel. Didn't love Babel. Didn't love Babel. I'm not one of the girls. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5. Babel was not for me. At least I read it though. At least I read Babel. What can you say? The next book, a book I have been putting off for years. I heard about this book years ago. Alice's Island. I finally read Alice's Island. I got a library copy. I read Alice's Island. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. This book was worth me putting so much into it. Me wanting to read this book so bad. It was worth it. I think I actually would have loved this book even more if I read it at the time that it came out. And I still loved it now. So this 100% was worth my time. Circe was also on that list, 23 books I wanted to read in 2023. Circe was worth it too. You want to know why I'm happy I like Circe? I would never have picked up Circe if not for people liking Circe. This is just not a book I would pick up on my own. So liking Circe made me feel good about the community. Like not just the booktube community or TikTok community or like just the overall book community of like everyone, that a book can be popular, a lot of people like it, and I pick it up out of my comfort zone and still enjoy it. It makes me still love book community and just other people introducing you to a book. That's what I really appreciate about me liking Circe. Book I would never pick up on my own, but I really like it. So with that being said, of all the books that I've read for this video that I made 4 months ago, I only loved 2. I liked 3. I really liked 3. And I think that's why I'm doing so bad. I think that's why I haven't picked up the classics, why I haven't, I've been putting off the TBRs that the other books are on. Jar of Hearts keeps getting ignored. Radio Silence I ain't touching. I got books that I don't even own. I've been let down. I didn't love Babel. I've been getting let down. I didn't love Honey and Spice. I'm tired of being let down. Like everything that has come from this video has kind of let me down except a few books. And so I'm tired of being let down. I don't want to be let down anymore. And I think subconsciously I've just been like, I don't want nothing to do with these books because my expectations are so high and I want to love them. And it's really hard for me to live up to them. So I kind of have just been ignoring it. I think earlier in the year, I made a conscious effort to get my hands on these books, but now I'm just kind of dwindling away. The only thing that's keeping me reading, that's going to keep me doing this, is the fact that by the end of the year in December, I want to be able to say I read every single one of them. That's the only thing keeping me doing this, because if not for that, if not being goal-oriented, because that's one thing about me. I love a goal. That's why I do this. I love a good goal. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't. I would not keep doing this because all I loved is Amari. All I loved is Amari. And so maybe I should do my rereads on the books I know I love, but what if I reread them and I'm not going to like them? That's not going to happen. There's nothing you can do to make me not like Mama Day by Gloria Naylor. There's nothing you can do to make me hate Great Gatsby. And people have tried. Two of my favorite classics of all time, Catcher in the Rye and The Great Gatsby. People have tried to make me not like those books, and there's nothing you can do. I love them. I love them at every stage that I read them in. I find new things to appreciate about them. I love them so much. So yeah, maybe 2023 is my flop year. What can you do? What can you do? You know, sometimes you gotta just see the floppage through. You gotta see the floppage through. I don't know. I will see you guys in the next one.